Hi lovely people. This week I wanted to do a sort of book review slash general enthusiastic flailing about an author that I've decided I really like. The author in question is Mhairi McFarlane.
Sophie Vlogs.
I first heard of Mhairi McFarlane in a video that Lena from Just Kiss My Frog did, talking about Who's That Girl, and she was sort of talking about it and comparing it to a different book by Anne Taylor that I can't remember, but it's the Shakespeare retelling one. And she was talking about how do you define the difference between like literary fiction and then like commercial fiction. And essentially her point was that whilst the Shakespeare retelling was objectively very good and she liked it, she found the Mhairi McFarlane book, Who's That Girl, much more funny, much more engaging, much more enjoyable, and sort of like a whole thing about like how do you measure like the goodness of books or something. So I like did what I always do and like lodged these little nuggets in my brain for a moment where they would become useful. And then I was in a charity shop and I happened to spot It's Not Me, It's You by Mhairi McFarlane, and I thought to myself, Lena likes that author. I'd probably like that author too. So I picked it up on a whim. I started reading it because Six Nations were on, boyfriend wanted to watch. I like rugby. I don't love rugby. So I thought like, I'll read the book and I'll sort of pay attention, but mostly I'll read the book. And then the book like consumed me and I read it in a day because like to be fair there were two matches of rugby on. So I also, as a later date, got Who's That Girl out from the library. So I've now read two of her books and I have thoughts and opinions and general enthusiasm and it needed to be expressed. So hence this video. Okay, I'm gonna start by just giving a brief plot setup for both of these books and then like jump forward and go with non-spoilery but like why I now seriously rate Mhairi McFarlane, and she's potentially a new favourite author, I have to say. So, It's Not You, It's Not Me, It's You, wrong way around, is about our main character sort of has like a spectacular breakup. It's all sort of gone to shit a bit in her life. So she decides that just temporarily relocating to London and moving in with her friend is just something that she's gonna do, see how it goes. Starts working for this PR firm, which is sort of like a bit dodgy, but she's just at that point like, I just need to be working and living and just being. It sort of goes forward from there with like a romantic comedy-esque plot, but like a freaking great one. And I have thoughts on that I'm going to say in a minute. Who's That Girl, which was released in 2016, so it's the newest book, is about someone who accidentally, maybe not wholly her fault, ends up kissing someone on their wedding day and the recent bride sees, and so then obviously like, and they work at the same place, so like obviously her entire personal and work life has gone to shit. So then she is sent by her sympathetic boss back up to Nottingham, where she is originally from, to stay with her family and ghost write this book for this guy who is essentially one of the main characters on Game of Thrones, but it's not called Game of Thrones. And again, your sort of romantic comedy plot continues from there. I have like a complex relationship with romantic comedies, insofar as I do enjoy, specifically more on like a visual medium than like books. I do enjoy like sticking on a rom-com and everything, but I do also get very exasperated by these recurring tropes in rom-coms. And like, for example, I read Bridget Jones' Diary because I like the film, and I read the book, and I really enjoyed the book because I like Bridget a lot, but there are aspects of the book which frustrate me. The obsessive like logging of her weight and all of the diet talk focus thing, I just really, no, not into that. So like I like the concept of rom-coms, but I often find myself wishing that they were more. Sometimes I just want to watch like a wishy-washy rom-com just because it's enjoyable for my brain. But also sometimes I crave rom-coms that have like more to them. And these are the rom-coms I've been craving because, number one, hilarious. They're so fun. I love Mhairi McFarlane's style of writing. It's super easy to read, and her protagonists are They're not like Manic Pixie Dream Girl, oh, isn't she the most incredible woman ever? They're like flawed humans, but they're witty and they're funny and they're just the type of people who I kind of just want to go down the pub with and share a bottle of rosé with and just have a natter. And I think they feel more real to me than like a caricature of a woman that you sometimes get in rom-coms. Part of that I think as well is both of these books, you know, the way I've described the plot, you have big sort of romantic related event that all goes to shit, and then our protagonist is relocating somewhere and sort of rediscovering themselves and finding themselves, and along the way romance ensues, etc. But there's this wonderful focus on like the careers of these women. So both of them, they move away, they get a job, and this job is an important part of their life, and they're not put down for trying to be successful. They're allowed to be successful, fuck up a bit whilst being successful, but at the end of the day, like, their careers are portrayed as being like important to them and part of like their measuring of success. And I like that because I don't have like the biggest experience with rom-coms, but I don't feel like there's often that much focus on like the importance of a career to people, and like as someone who's currently struggling with their career, like, career success would be great. I would love that. And I like that that's appreciated as, like, an aspiration and important thing to these women. Another good thing is, like, your surrounding cast of characters. Like, I feel like a good rom-com has, like, a good supporting cast of characters. You know, like, when you watch Bridget Jones, you like Bridget, but you also like her friends. They're funny. And it's not just about what's your protagonist like, but I feel like really good rom-coms have like a really good like bunch of people around them. And both of these do as well. They're all quite different, but they all have like enough substance to them to feel like quite real people, like you could imagine bumping into these people. And even when it comes to like antagonists, I feel like the antagonists are also quite realistic. They don't fall into like I'm a one-dimensional villain. There is like some substance to them, but they're also like shitty enough that you're like rooting against them. From a romance point of view, like the romance plots in these books, I found myself believing there is that sort of like fantasy element to it where like, would this really happen in real life? But it's not like overly so, it's not distractingly so. It's enough that the book is like does that thing which fiction does, which is like escapism and stuff like that, but it's got like there's a fundamental like compatibility of people that is established with like some groundwork that sort of gets you there, and you're not like, this is unrealistic. You're like, actually, yeah, no, like I'm rooting for these people. I don't know if I can be more coherent because I just have like so much boundless enthusiasm. Like sometimes all I want to do is just sit and lose myself in a lovely modern romance book where the protagonist is a delight and the writing is funny and witty and just fun to read. Like, both of these books are just so much fun. This is probably where I should call it an end, because I don't want to, like, veer into any spoilers, and I think I've been spoiler-free so far. I've just given you, like, rough generalizations. But my essential point is, if you like a good romance book, I'd recommend them. You know, like that thing you like about YA romance books, but you sometimes wish you had it in like an adult version because like you're not in high school anymore and it's a little bit unrelatable for you. That's what these are. It's all that I wanted from like that. But for me, as an adult, as like a woman who is like engaging in romantic relationships, well, singular, and also like attempting to have a career and just figure out what to do with our lives. Like, both protagonists are in their 30s, so you get like a solidly good, interesting adult woman protagonist, which is good. As a final note, I actually liked It's Not Me, It's You a bit more than Who's That Girl, so if you want a start point, this is the one I would recommend starting with. She does have at least 2 more, maybe 3, not sure. Definitely going to be getting my hands on them, definitely going to be reading more of them. I need to like maybe slow down so that I don't like do them all in like a flurry of a month, and I need to like spread them out, but I'm definitely going to be reading more. I just loved her, okay? She was just great. That's it from me for now. I hope you are having a super duper lovely day. If there's been an author that you have recently stumbled upon by accident and fallen completely head over heels in love with their work, please let me know in the comments below, because it's such a delightful feeling that I would love to just like hear what's been happening for you and also maybe read them myself. I will see you next week with something.